Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. Today, we're going to be looking at the new Festival of Chaos and Dream Battle events. Have a ton of rewards and some also pretty funny stuff here. So let's get into it. We do have two new login bonuses actually, starting out with a 14-day one here on the Dream Battle event. Now, if you do notice here, we do have the Master Momo over here from the Dream sequence in Book 3. And we do have some unusual new event currency here. These are Dream Battle coins, and Dream Battle coins are used for a special event banner that is going on right now that we shall get into. Looking all through this here, you can get a total of 500 of these Dream Battle coins. You can also get, over the course of 2 weeks, 6-piece Chaos banners and 3 summon tickets, so not bad at all. And then a pile of nature stones as well, so always nice. And then if we look at the Festival of Chaos here, you do see we do have Book 3 Zuko, otherwise known as Dragon Dancer Zuko, in the game. You can get 3 more Piece Chaos Summon tickets from that, as well as some Nature Stones. Not bad at all. So now what we're going to do here, we do have, of course, the usual packs you can purchase. Not going to worry about that right now. But we do have 2 very rewarding event quests. First one we're going to look at here is Festival of Chaos. This one focusing kind of around Dragon Dancer Zuko, or similar abilities to him. Now, starting here, just for completing quests in this page, you get even more Piece Chaos tickets. Now, unless you are actually summoning on the Dragon Dancer Zuko banner, you won't be able to get all of these if my math is correct, because there are 3 challenges that are locked behind actually summoning. But if you are summoning, then that's not a problem. So yeah, we also do have completing adventures with fire element heroes. That would be just letting your fire characters walk around like Zuko or Zhang or Iroh. We have plenty of options to make that happen, so that's going to be some very easy nature stones. We also do have spending energy in battles in order to get some chaos upgrading materials. Again, very helpful if you do decide to go after Dragon Dancer Zuko. Just some more nature stones here. And yeah, so this page is very simple, very straightforward. You get a lot of nature stones. You do get the energy if you summon on Dragon Dancer Zuko. If you don't, you do miss out on a couple Piece Chaos tickets, which if you're summoning, it's more so a slight refund than actually getting the rewards. But keep in mind, it's 20 to get all the way up to 3, but that would only grant you 3 additional Piece Chaos tickets. So if you don't want to summon on Dragon Dancer Zuko, and we'll talk about that in a second, then don't feel pressured, because it's better to save the 20 than spend the 20 you don't even want to spend and then get 3 back. But now we're going to look at the Dream Battle events. Now what this gives is, for the just completing the challenges, this gives more of these dream coins. Now, like I said, we'll get into that in a second, but you can get a grand total of 1,500 dream coins from completing all 20 of these challenges. We also do have winning any activity battles, such as your arts missions, your material missions, all that good stuff, with an offensive type hero on the team. We have granting buff to self or allies in battle. And then we have a whole lot of quests involving upgrading supports and upgrading relics. A few more Nature Stone quests here is inflicting immunity on yourself or your allies. Basically, you'll want to go through your characters and see which of them can grant immunity. There are also at least 2 sets that can grant immunity. I'm not sure if that counts towards this counter, but I would like to imagine that it does. So just kind of something to keep in mind there. And then inflicting the air element on enemies. One character you might notice that this pairs really well with is Book 3 Avatar Aang, the peace version of Aang. If you do have him, these will be trivial. But if you don't have him, then there are still other characters that can get the job done. So yeah, you can basically get another, I believe, 750 nature stones, because it's 50 a pop for 5, and that's the same way with these as well, so I believe 750 is correct on that one. So a very nice pile there, as well as just some upgrade materials and even a ticket for both the relic and the support banner. Not bad at all. And then if you do spend those Dream Battle coins, you do get some adventure points. Not bad at all. So yeah, very cool stuff here, and we haven't even talked about the fact that, or the fact of what these actually do. You also do get a whopping 20 Peace Chaos tickets from this banner, so not bad at all. They are really stacking you up if you want to summon on Dragon Dance or Zuko. So if we go to the shop here, you will see we do have more ways to get these coins. You can get a total of 500 by spending 10,000 adventure points. Again, a total of 500 for spending 10 million gold, and a total of 1,000 for spending 2,000 of the arena coins, which, so I forget, those are a little more premium, so we'll get into it of whether or not that's worth it. I personally do think that the adventure points and the gold is certainly worth it. Arena coins, hard to say. And then, of course, you have the more premium options here, spending nature stones. If my math is correct, and that's a big if, you get 500 total from the login bonus, and then you do get 100 just from like a little mail thing just for the heck of it. That's why I have 200 at the moment. Half of that's from the login bonus, half of that from the mail. And then you get another 400 for that. So from the login bonus and that brings me up to 600. You can get 150 for the event quest. That brings up to 2,000 and some change. And then another 1,000 for adventure points and gold. Bringing you up to 3,000 and some change, assuming I'm not missing anything. So we'll see how that will play into what those coins actually do right now, because we're going to go into the summon page. Now, what I want to bring your attention to here first is the Dream Battle banner. Now, what this is, it is a banner with Master Momo and Samurai Appa as supports. We do have Master Momo here. Increases the crit damage of offensive type heroes by 25%. Not bad at all. And then this is for Avatar faction heroes, of which there is no small number. Increases the crit rate of Team Avatar faction heroes by 15%. Really blows my Owl Wolf out of the water. So yeah, if you look here, we do have only a 1% rate, but we'll get into that in just a second here as far as why this is a lot like the powerful opponents, where it's not really a factor. Half of that is made up between Momo and Appa, and the other half of that is divided up behind the usual 3. Now you will notice that there is a 60 pity rate, and if you do get to pity, you actually get one of each. You get one Appa and you get one Momo. If you read kind of the events tab, you'll see that. So you do get both if you reach pity. Now, looking at what the currency rates are for these summons, it's 1,000 per 10 pull. That means you need 6,000. Now, looking at my math, assuming I have it right, which is admittedly a big if, you're only getting about 3,000 without starting to spend arena coins or nature stones. If you do spend arena coins, that becomes 4,000. So if, assuming my math is correct, if you want to get to pity, you will need to spend some nature stones, unfortunately. However, as far as supports go, these guys are certainly not slacking. They've got the stats where you want it. Crit damage and crit rate is never bad. But of course, you'll just have to decide for yourself whether or not you actually want to spend your hard-earned nature stones on this banner. Speaking of spending nature stones and all that jazz, we have to talk about the Festival of Chaos banner. This has the same rates as the Peace Avatar Aang banner, only this time we have Dragon Dancer Zuko, who is a Chaos character. Kind of interesting because at this point he was actually a good guy, but he counted as a Chaos character here, so that's kind of neat. We do have some things to look over here. We have 3 characters, and then we have a relic. First, before we get into the new stuff, we're going to look at Iroh and Commander Zhao. Now, Iroh, if you've been in Arena at all, Iroh is a bulky terror. He can stall out your entire team on a good day. We do have his basic here where he can grant tenacity to himself and remove the offensive buffs off the enemy. And if he does remove an offensive buff, he can actually permanently decrease their attack and crit rate up to a certain point. Not bad at all. We do have his kind of healing ability, Calming Jasmine Tea. He enters a calming state, which decreases the speed of all enemies and heals each ally. And then he heals each ally by 15% of their max HP. So very, very cool there, and can even reduce how long the debuffs last on him. And then we do have the Blooming Tile passive here, where basically if the enemy's turn bar is increased, he will decrease 2 of his enemy's turn bar and increase his own turn bar. And then he gets even more abilities from skill masteries, as you do kind of see here. He can grant defense up to his allies and increase skill cooldowns of the target. And then if we're looking at mastery level 4 here, just going to bop on over to there real quick. If we take a look at mastery level 4, he can increase the opponent's chance of landing a miss hit by 50%. Now, it is kind of funny wording there, landing a miss hit. Basically, increases his chance of the opponent missing. Not bad at all. So, Iroh is, of course, a very tried and true character, but do keep in mind that he is a freebie. We do get an Iroh after 7 days of first logging in. So, if you're worried about getting copies of Iroh, if you want to get copies, then great. But if you just want the one kind of like me, then him being included on this banner might be a bit of a detractor for you. Okay, and now we're going to talk about the other character on this banner, Commander Zhao, another Firebender character. His basic here, it deals focus damage, which decreases the enemy's focus, and then removes a buff from the target, and he gains a random offensive buff if he lands a critical strike. So he needs to basically crit the enemy to get a buff. And then looking at his advanced here, he deals damage to one enemy that actually ignores 50% of the target's defensive stat, and then inflicts the captured state if he lands a crit. Basically, preventing the use of any of their advanced combos or ultimates while they have this state, and decreases their speed by 30%. And then 50% chance to grant increased crit rate for 1 turn to allies of the Fire Army faction when you land a critical strike. Now, the Fire Army faction is this little banner here. So any character needs to actually have that banner to get it. I'm going to be honest, Commander Zhao's kind of mid, which is strangely appropriate for him, but he is not exactly setting records. All of his abilities are really dependent on him actually getting crits, which if you're building crits, then you are going to lose out a little bit on attack unless you are getting lucky. And then his passive here, it only affects Fire Army factions, not necessarily all Firebenders. Characters like Zuko are not actually Fire Army faction, except for maybe Invader Zuko. I'd have to confirm that. So he's not really the most amazing of characters. You really never see him used. And if I ever saw him in Arena, I'd go after that team because I'd see him as a weak link. So just kind of something to keep in mind there. Unless you do want a Zhao or you have a Zhao and you've seen some pretty good effect out of him, then great. Me personally, though, he doesn't seem like he's all that crazy. However, let's look past that and let's look at the new 2 stuff, Dragon Dancer Zuko and the Sunstone Relic. For this relic here, Every time the caster is part of a combo, I believe this could be the start, beginning, or start, middle, or end. He has a 35% chance to gain increased crit chance or crit damage for 2 turns. Basically, he gets that buff. And this is used on Firebender characters. If I'm being honest, this doesn't really blow my mind. Kind of like the Yangshan Memorial actually granted a noteworthy amount of healing. This is only a chance at a buff that other characters can grant if you do have support. However, it can still be helpful depending on your situation. But of course, the man of the hour we have to look at is Dragon Dancer Zuko. Now this guy is pretty cool. We're actually going to start with his passive here, just to help the rest of his kit make sense. Gain Inner Flame at the start of battle for 1 turn, and reignite Inner Flame for 1 turn when the caster initiates a combo attack as the combo starter. So when he starts the combo. What Inner Flame does, it increases his attack by 35% and gains 20 focus when Inner Flame is consumed by a skill. And you will see that does happen quite a bit. This also grants him a rather noteworthy amount of synergy with Airbender characters. With his mastery, he does get some buffs, and he can actually even grant turn bar at full mastery to himself and Airbender characters when they're being used with his combos. So pretty interesting stuff there. And then we do have his basic, deal bending damage to 1 enemy. That basically means if the enemy has a fire element, this will do more damage. And increase rank of 1 fire element on the enemy target to rank 3 before dealing damage, and consume Inner Flame if it is active on the character. So if he has Inner Flame, he can jack up the rank of a fire element and then hit. Just a reminder here, the fire element actually does make the enemy take more damage. Very important to note there. So this hit can do some serious damage if he has Inner Flame. And then looking at his advance, he deals firebending damage to 1 enemy, which, just to remind yourself here, this inflicts the fire debuff. So you can already see how these two synergize. And then if he has Inner Flame, he actually consumes it and gains an extra turn. Very, very cool there. Now keep in mind though, that would consume the Inner Flame, so when he gets that extra turn, he most likely wouldn't have it for this unless he used a combo in that turn to basically regain it. So basically the strategy here is use this in a combo, consume the Inner Flame, gain a new Inner Flame, and then use this and max out that fire debuff. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Also, just kind of looking at his abilities, he is Book 3 Zuko, so he does have the Team Avatar modifier here, and then he also has Exile, and he has Bending Master. So this does grant him a rather nice pile of effects he can have here. Of course, we do have the new supports, and we do have lots of relics that work with both Bending Masters and Exiles that are pretty cool. So yeah, that is what we have here. Of course, if you just kind of look at this, it's 3%. Zuko is at 0.33. The Sunstone is at 1.5, and then the remainder of it is split between the 3 usual supports and Zhao and Iroh. Now I'm going to tell you, Dragon Dancer Zuko, of course, being the standout, he looks fantastic. I haven't decided if I'm going to summon on this one, though, for a couple reasons. One, first of all, Zhao is very mid. He's not mind-blowing. It's not like with the Avatar Aang banner where we had 5-star Sokka and 5-star Toph. Both of those are very good characters. Zhao is not exactly setting records here. Iroh is very good, but you get one for free anyway, and of his uses, I wouldn't say that the skill levels are necessary. They can certainly help, but if I've already got one character of Iroh, I'm happy. So that leaves basically the new relic and the new character, Dragon Dancer Zuko. The relic I'm not really mind blown about at all. All it does is have a chance to grant you a buff. Now, it does have HP and attack as its stat, which is always good, but that's not as much of a factor because there's no guarantee that you'll get enough copies for that to matter. So I'm really not mind blown by this. I mean, I'm sure it can make it easier to get those buffs, but it doesn't really do anything unique on its own. Just for an example here, the relic from the Zhong banner actually grants extra turns if you're inflicting negative states on the enemy. Compare that to this, which only has a chance to grant those buffs. It just doesn't strike me as high value. Now, Zuko is very, very good. That one, there's no denying that. Dragon Dance with Zuko is fantastic, and being a Bending Master and an Exile does not certainly hurt, because he can have access to the various Bending Master relics we've had, or the Wanderer's Veil for a much more free-to-play friendly option. Keep in mind, though, being that it's Zuko, we already do have Fire Nation Zuko, who is an extremely accessible 4-star who does a ton of damage. Me personally, I might actually skip this banner for a couple reasons. Those that I just stated. Also, I don't actually have enough to even get the pity at the moment. Now, I could probably get there before the banner ends, but I do want to bring up a shadow on the horizon here. In the future, we are going to be getting a 2-character banner for Princess Yue, who is a peace character, and Moonslayer Zhao, who is a chaos character. I'm actually going to bring that on screen here. This screenshot is from the pre-global release of the game, where it was only released in a few countries. That's also the case with Dragon Dance Zuko, as he was available in there as well. And you might have even seen Yue or Zhao in the arena. These 2 characters are Peace Chaos characters. Princess Yue is Peace and Zhao is Chaos. They are on this same banner, and they are both very powerful. This banner weighs on my mind a bit, because not only is it a Peace Chaos banner, which means it's probably going to have that 300 crit rate, or excuse me, pity rate. Crit rate, wow. The 300 pity rate. That also means that the rates are probably going to be gosh awful. And they'll be split between 2 characters. Now, I don't know the rates for sure. I would love it if anybody has played the game before the global release and summoned on that banner at all. I would love to know what the rates are. If you do happen to know, leave it in the comments. But I would assume, because let's be real here, it is a gacha game. They're not exactly going to always hand stuff out for free. I would assume that it would have this 3% rate, with that being split between Princess Yue, Zhao, and any applicable best in slot relics. That is speculation. I would love it if somebody could tell me for sure, but it is a shadow on my mind, and they're very good characters, whereas Zuko, Dragon Dance Zuko is very good, but we already have Fire Nation Zuko. Just some food for thought there. But at the end of the day, do what you want, have fun. And like I said, I haven't even made up my mind fully yet, so we will see. But we also have the Dream Battle here, which is a nice little small banner if that's what you prefer. So yeah, that basically breaks down the event. A ton of rewards and a ton of cool stuff. And Dragon Dance Zuko is very, very good. If I didn't already know about Moonslayer Zhao and Princess Yue, I would summon on him. It's just knowing what I know, it makes me hesitate a little bit. But hey, maybe you're not worried about it, and maybe you just want to go whole hog on this very cool Book 3 character, in which case, best of luck to you, go for it. But yeah, that's about all we have for this overview of these events, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good one.